whatever you do, General Tire delivers.
After a delay for round 2 saw us miss Wild West Motorsports Park, today brings us back around to get to race here for the first time this season. After the aggressive and exciting race we saw at Crandon 2 weeks ago, will the thrills continue? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch round 6 of the 2023 General Tire National Series, and you'll see it all live here on Podium Esports. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and joining me in the booth is the voice of off-road, Dave Arnold. Behind the scenes is John Theodore on social media, and our producer is Gary Sexton, who's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Now, the drivers have come to another of the tracks out in the Southwest. We had Wild Horse a little bit earlier on, Dave, but this is going to be a bit of a different beast compared to that.
Yeah, Wild West, one of my favorites. A high-speed track, a lot of elevation changes, and some technical sections. A couple of 180s that could throw you for a loop.
Absolutely. We're going to check it out here on the Google Maps little zoom in as it takes us down into Nevada and shows us what is sadly no longer there, but this 4-turn track is going to keep them on their toes. It's just over a mile in length as the drivers have not as much room to try and play with, but a little bit more than what we see at Wild Horse, and definitely some long straightaways to play with, and a lot of jumps as well. That's one thing that always strikes me about this place, is they really like to chuck the trucks in the air, Dave.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And one of the exciting is coming out of turn number 1. It's a 180 hairpin to the left. It's crazy. When they get this out of turn number 1, they have a big leap down a hill and a couple of little jumps there into another tight 180. So that area always makes for interesting racing.
Absolutely does. It is certainly fun on the first lap where we can get some tangles as trucks try to get it woed up from those high speeds. Now, we have our regular format, but if you've never watched the racing in this series before, let's head through the race analysis. It's going to be heat races of 6 laps each, and they are going to see the top, I believe, 3 advance through. We'll double check on that information to see if that is correct. And they have the last chance qualifiers for those who finish outside of the top 3 to give them a chance to advance to the feature. The top 3 in those heats will automatically be in the feature. And then everybody combines for that final race, 18 laps, to try and decide the winner of the evening. And we have a competition caution either at the end of lap 8 or lap 11. We've got conflicting information. We'll try and get that clarified and see if we can get that all ready to go for the viewers so that we know what to expect in that big show at the end of the evening. But they also have qualifying going on right now, and most of the drivers do have at least 1 lap in, but we got a few that are wrapping up. And interestingly, I see Trenton Briley actually leading the way in the timing sheets.
Yeah, I was looking at it myself. Trenton's throwing down some pretty quick times right there. Kind of surprised right now to see, well, not really Connor's there, but Jakob Rafoss, looking in that second position, looking pretty good there. Nicholas Dachelet sitting fourth right now, and it looks like Christopher Plumley rounding out the top five. So some quick runs, but Trenton Briley, though, he's had some good runs here in the past at Wild West, though, so I'm not really surprised on that one.
Connor Berry is currently sitting in that third position and is only about half a tenth off of Trenton Briley. So the times are tight. Well, make that ahead of Trenton Briley. He just went up by 600ths over the 17 truck, and he now has the pole position.
And it looks like he pulled right off on it and said, well, put my stamp on it. There's my 4 laps. See what you guys are going to do with this one.
Yeah, indeed, it was his last lap. So he basically pulled that one out of the hat at the last chance of trying it. Looks like the 90 of Tyson Miller finishes his final lap, unable to go quicker than 6, but that'll still put him well up the order. Only driver that hasn't set a time I can see is Jarrett Liebert. Everybody else does seem to have at least one on our timing sheet. I see Keith Jeffrey heading around in the 88, finishing up lap 3 right now. See if he can go any quicker than his 14th position as we ride on board on the little suspension cam that we've put under the trucks. Usually gives us some fascinating views as we come down to the start-finish line to get another lap in here. Let's see if this is going to be an improvement for, I think it's Jakob Rafoss that we're looking at. And no, that lap was deleted. This is going to be his last chance, his 4th and final run.
And this is what I'm talking about, coming up off that hairpin off the top, coming around 180, and we always see a lot of contact right here. It's nice to see it in, qualifying. You're not seeing any other vehicles out there. You take your preferred line, you throw a couple trucks in there, your lines are going to change. And you can really see the undulations as they come up the hill. It is a big climb. I've seen some less horsepower vehicles in real life that actually struggle to get up that hill. These V8, powered Pro 4s, not a problem when you're pumped out over 900 horsepower.
Absolutely. And we can see here that Rafoss's final lap is not going to be an improvement. Behind him, Keaton Swain just ran lap 3. 1 more to go, and it does look like he has time, what I'm seeing from our clock there in the upper left. He's going to need this because right now he's second behind Connor Berry. One of the conspicuously missing names, though, Dave, is Parker Retzlaff, who was on a tear but still way down in the points. So I think this lack of appearance means that his season's pretty much over.
Yeah, I know he was sitting 3rd in points before that, but I know his real-life racing duties are, unfortunately do come first. And when you're traveling, it's hard to get your whole sim system and everything. I know a couple of the big top-tier drivers that travel in their rigs with their sims, but it's a little tough when you're flying in.
I've actually seen pictures of some drivers over the years that have put their sim rig essentially hooked up to an ironing board in a hotel room. So they will go to great lengths to try and get their races in. Even though it's virtual, it's still important to them. Cody Retzlaff is here. Unfortunately, he's going to stay 17th, as I think that looks like that might be everybody able to set a time from here.
Yeah, but Connor Berry, Trenton Briley, Jakob Rafoss, looking pretty good there. Top 3, Nicholas Dachelet, Christopher Plumley, top 5. And Tyson Miller, it's good to see him get a little bit of qualifying time on this track. I know he's had some tough ones lately.
Absolutely. Here's Christopher Plumley out there right now. And yeah, that's going to be his final lap. It looks like he squeaked that one in right at the end, but doesn't go faster than his 49.7 that he had before. So that is now officially it. Nobody else out on track. All 4 laps have been run or exhausted by the drivers. And we wait for it to turn over for the first heat of the night. And then we will get going. This is an interesting angle of the Geico Gecko there.
Just thinking the same thing. It looks like the Geico is doing a little sunbathing out there.
Indeed, worshiping the sun god there from out in the middle of the desert for a second. We'll just have to let this clock tick down before we can get to that first grid. We'll get that in for you. I think we've got time potentially for the points, since we did mention that championship. Why don't we take a glance at that? Right now, Barry is leading, as I mentioned, with Swain and Liebert behind him. I talked about Parker Retzlaff. You have to go all the way down to 7th position before you get to him, despite him having 2 wins to his name this season. Would have been 3 even, but unfortunately one got taken away due to a penalty in the first round. From there, Rafoss, who does look like he's good today, is sitting in 4th. Maybe this is his chance with a few missing names to try and snipe some good haul in.
Yeah, it is a good opportunity there, and I know with Parker not making the last one in this one, I think he, pretty much his chances are over with. But, Rafoss, he's sitting good. Plumlee, 9 points back there. And then you get into Jeffrey, and then you got a big gap back to 6th place. So the top 5 still out there swinging.
Looks like we are gridding up for the first one now. So let's go to our starting grid here for heat number 1. Nicholas Dachelet is going to be on the pole for this as Connor Berry starts in 2nd position. After that, it is Keaton Swain in P3, Ryan Miller in P4, and Zachary Drapkin in the 5th position. Scott Kerr starts P6. Paul Mikolajic starts in the 7th position. Timothy Messimer, P8. Sean Winkler, 9th. And Taylor Vandenbush is going to be rounding out our 10 trucks that are going to be taking part in this first heat. I do believe we also have our special presentation of the national anthem ready to share before we get to racing as well. So why don't we check in with that?
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rugged red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And there we have the national anthem to help bring us into the racing. I do love these aerial shots to help kind of show just how much elevation change Dave was talking about this track entails. They've got a little bit of time left. It looks like about 40 more seconds before they're going to be taking off and starting this first heat. They also have a distinct starting zone here, Dave, where they are set to start and restart the various races tonight. And I understand that they're not allowed to pass until they get past the official start-finish line. So I'm hoping everybody is really taking a close look at the rules and are paying well attention to that.
Yeah, I did notice that they're cracking down on that one, and it's the fair line. I mean, moving out and getting from behind somebody is okay, but you can't change and gain a position until you're past the actual green flag.
So let's hope that we don't get any penalties from that.
Yep.
As the drivers look like they should be taking off now, I believe, if the pace truck will start going. A couple of them are antsy to get started here, but I still do not see the pace truck. Now it's on its way. Okay. Had a little bit of trouble, I guess, getting that iRacing branded truck off the starting line. But now we will see them head around the final corner, and that truck will dash off into the distance as they hold pace speed before we get started racing. There it goes, waiting for the start zone as the pace truck is in and the green flag is out. Dashalette gets a very good jump as they fly up the hill up towards turn 1. The 23 going to be the first to send it into the corner, but who will come out ahead as they go 3 wide down into there for the lead, and then over the jump, they're banging doors.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was saying. Coming out of turn number 1 is always great. And you can see 3 wide there. Dashalette looks like Barry. And, oh, look at this. Swain sweeping around there. A couple of cars getting a little bumpered around, throwing some elbows.
Swain manages to get up to the front. Dashalette's back into second. Oh, a couple of them climbing the K-rails. Unfortunately, looks like Timothy Messimer may have gone out of bounds and is sent into pit lane as Connor Berry is trying to take third place on the inside of Drapkin. But now look at this. There's Ryan Miller, who suddenly makes an aggressive move to take P4.
Yeah, I was surprised. Miller looks like he was running it up there, and then Drapkin was starting to give a little run to his money for Barry, but I think binders, came into effect there. Zachary got on him a little bit quicker than, of course, Connor Barry. Sometimes that exit speed's going to help you, and you noticed he was able to shoot about and take that position.
Back down into turn 2 once again. Very sharp hairpin. Big hit to the side of Connor Berry. Looks like Drapkin and Miller carry on that battle up into 3. Going to get a little bit of elbows for the 56, nudging him wide. Miller will hold on to P4. Drapkin holds off Winkler in the meantime, who starts to approach from behind. Remember, we're looking for the top 3 drivers to advance to the feature automatically. The rest will head down to the last chance qualifier.
Yeah, and this is just so insane, the speed that they're getting, close to 100 miles an hour down the straightaway in a truck, four-wheel drive, getting ready to get down those brakes as hard as you can to get that 180. It's just mind-blowing, the speed that they carry into this corner.
And launching them in the air at those speeds as well, over the dirt as we fly down into turn 2. Looking back from Ryan Miller, Drapkin gives him a big shove coming through turn 2, but he isn't able to get the position away. This is a very hands-on race compared to the last few rounds, and last round was extremely hands-on.
Well, Wild West tends to be a little bit more physical because of these turns, because there's only so many fast lines through there, so guys will lean on each other a lot more. Now, this is a high-speed section where the truck's really getting settled, and sometimes if you're close to somebody, you can end up taking somebody out, and that's not what you want to do.
Definitely not, and they have induced some penalties already this season from moments like that, so I'm sure they've been given a big heads up by race control. Up and over goes Ryan Miller.
Man, that K-Rail just reached out and grabbed him.
And it was immediate. Had no chance to save that one. And he's going to be our second truck that has to come into pit lane. Let's take another look at it as they came into the corner. Just down to the inside, maybe a little too hard. Oh, but he got pinched. I think he got a little help.
Yeah, well, you got to remember, these are four-wheel drives. So when that front wheel catches that K-Rail, it doesn't just bump you off, it climbs it up. And that's what kind of takes you into a barrel roll, as you saw what happened.
The results are obvious, unfortunately. And as we fly down the front stretch, it's still Swain leading with Dashalette in second, Connor Berry in the last transfer position. Because of that wreck last time through, it's been a big breakaway between themselves and P4, which is Drapkin on the bubble. And we're at 2 laps to go, so time is running out if he wants to try and make it to the feature automatically.
Yeah, I'm really watching Swain's lines right now, and they're just being so smooth, hitting all his apexes, hitting all of his marks. You can see he gets into an area where he doesn't have to brake and just kind of rotates the truck and keeps up momentum. And this is where they're going to gap out a little bit. This is quite a big hill climb, and that's what I'm talking about, where it unsettles that truck. It just kind of unweights the one side and bounces it up. Boy, how they keep retained and control down this high-speed hill is mind-blowing after that.
And coming up back into turn one, white flag is out. Final run around the circuit for this heat. Swain could definitely use this win. With Barry back in third, it's not going to be the most points in the heat races, but it'll be valuable inroads on that 213 markers that Connor set down as there's a charge into turn two on the inside of Dashilet, but isn't able to get by him.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so many. If you go around the outside, it's just a long way. You get into the marbles. That's why everybody's staying close, getting in that traction zone. You know, they got to keep it hooked. The truck keep hooked it up. You know, if you get outside those marbles, you just spin the wheels.
Yeah, it does seem like the inside line, it is the place to be. Keaton Swain, though, has managed to take the lead away and the win for heat number one. Dashilet will finish second, and Connor Berry will be P3. Trapkin, unfortunately, fourth. First one to be sent to the LCQ. Winkler, P5. Mikolajic, sixth. Scott Kerr is going to be P7. Last driver to actually finish this race is Vandenbush in P8 there, as unfortunately Miller and Messimer were DNFs. That takes us to the second heat. And up at the top, it is Christopher Plumley that's going to be starting for the pole of this one. Trenton Briley will be in P2, followed by Felix Roy in the third position. From there, you've got Keith Jeffrey in the fourth spot, as Jarrett Liebert will be P5 and Cody Retzlaff will be 6. Bodie Cryer starts 7th today. James Burke in 8th and Bryce Simoneau in the 9th position. Cameron Magashik will be the last of the 10 in this one. So did look like that first run into the couple corners at the start of the lap were pretty decisive. So I wonder if that's going to up the aggression after they've witnessed that, Dave.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they pretty much know when you come to Wild West, you're going to have to lean on somebody. There's no way around it. Unfortunately, when you get three wide, as we saw on the first lap in that last heat race, you know, you're going to have to fight for it. From elbows going to get thrown. Door-to-door contact's good. Just don't change the shape or position of the vehicle, and you got to be good.
I like that. Don't change the shape of the vehicle. As they come past the start-finish line, Briley does not get off the line well. He's under threat with Roy beside him, looking to take that second place away. Gives a little hip check, and I think that's going to get him the spot if he can just get down to the inside. Yes, look at him cover immediately.
And you can see that Roy is going to split out outside, coming around. And oh, man, that K-rail will get you every time.
That was Keith Jeffrey, and unfortunately, well, that's an interesting place to put the truck. He's managed to high center it across the middle.
It's not like a skateboard. You can't slide the rails.
Yeah, that would be a 50-50, I think, for him, unfortunately.
Yes, that's right. Even the man from Ohio knows a 50-50.
There we go. As they come around to complete lap one, it is Plumley up at the front with Roy in second, Briley down in third. In fact, it's a pretty big gap you can see up to the leader. Back to P2. We're on board with Liebert, who is in the first non-transfer position here in P4.
Yeah, this weighs heavily on him, especially being back there in third in points. He's got a lot to protect. You got to make those mains.
Yeah, that is going to be so critical, especially with how we're seeing some of these first laps go for so many drivers. Jeffrey, of course, is in pit lane because of that. He could still get back out and finish the race, but he'll be a lap or two down, unfortunately. Hot on the heels of Trenton Briley, Jarrett Liebert is going to try and see what he can do to put this 10 car into the top 3, but it's not going to happen here in turn 4 this lap.
Yeah, Plumley is setting a blistering lap, basically a pace right now for all these guys. Roy, Briley, Liebert, all trying to catch back up.
Gap is up to 1.7 seconds now between himself and Felix Roy. As Trenton Briley in the last transfer spot, kind of stuck in the middle, not far enough away that he can relax, but certainly not close enough that we're seeing anybody manage to try and attack him. As you can see them get as close as they can. Once again, every one of those walls on the insides of these corners, but they really need to be careful. We've already had at least 3 trucks, I believe, fall victim to those.
Yeah, definitely. K-rails, they reach up and tend to grab you and suck you up on top. Great shot there by Briley, though. I'll tell you, those are some close quarter combat going on.
He's getting right up on Felix Roy now. He wants to get out of that third position to keep himself safer. Going to give a hello to the back of the 91 and now to the side of the 91 as they come out of the first turn and plunging down the hill. Doesn't quite work out for him, but he's certainly making him know that he is there.
Yeah, definitely. It's like you could see, just bumped him out, moved the position, but Roy was able to keep on it, and he kept that inside line going into turn 2, and I think that's always the key. You know, setting up for position in turn number 2 is going to set you up the hill.
They both went pretty wide down through 2, though, and that's allowed Liebert to gain some time. If they keep messing around, they could make themselves vulnerable. I think this is going to have to be decisive. There's another big look through 4 that doesn't pan out.
Well, he's only going to have 2 more laps to make it happen as he goes by the stripe again. So he's really going to have to work it. And I think he's just playing with them. He's trying to set him up, trying to figure out where it could rattle him. This is the spot every time.
Shut him out of the way that time.
Yeah, I know, but Roy's going to be set up perfectly here. So let's see if he's going to go for the over-under there. Briley, nope, stays in, tucks up, goes wide. Surprised.
He was slow down the hill for some reason there,
Yeah.
and Briley's now opened the door, unfortunately, as this means that Liebert in the 10 has managed to get to the inside, both for 3, and he'll now have the inside for turn 4, which we've seen a few drivers try and make some moves in. He sends it in deep, can't quite slide in front of him. Job is not done, and now it's a drag race.
And that was very clean racing as those two just stayed inches away from each other.
Love to see that respect between them. Last lap, though, he's going to have to get it done quickly. He's going to edge him out of the way, and I think that is job done.
And look at this, Cody Ratzliff trying to follow up the inside. Wasn't able to make it happen, though.
Oh, but he goes in too hot down into turn 2, just about spins it out. He uses that 4-wheel drive to get it focused back the right way. Briley still in 4th position. Gonna try and take it back from Liebert, but no dice.
Yeah, these Pro 4s, it's almost, you know, it's like in rally, they call it like a little Scandinavian scrub. So you kind of want to get that rear end to rotate around. Sometimes it over-rotates. Good thing about having 4-wheel drive, it helps you pull it out, like just you pointed out.
Plumlee takes the win as he crosses the line, as Roy is going to take 2nd. Liebert will hold on to P3. Briley, unfortunately, on the last lap or 2, sees it slip through his fingers. He finishes P4, Retzlaff 5th, Burke 6th, Simoneau 7th, Magashik 8th, and Cryer 9th, with Keith Jeffrey not returning to the track and becoming a DNF in this second heat this evening. And we're going to be heading to the 3rd heat. This is going to be our last heat as well. We don't have enough trucks here tonight for a full 4, and this sees Tyson Miller on the pole. Jakob Rafoss will be starting from 2nd. It's Tom Grady's P3. Then it's Colin Murphy in 4th, and Crystal King in P5. Cody Winiecki starts from 6th. Then on the next row, it'll be Daniel Aish in the inside, as John Binder's on his outside. Don MacArthur starts 9th, and disregard John Theodore there. He will not be racing in this race. So,
yeah, they DQ'd him before he even got in.
Yeah, poor guy. Didn't qualify. So here we go. It's time for the last of the 3 heats. And Daniel actually was given an EOL, I see. So it looks like he will also be starting from the back of this group once we get rolling.
Well, it should hopefully get rolling here pretty soon.
Yeah, shouldn't have to wait too long. You can see a few of them kind of rocking the trucks back and forth, waiting to go, and now we're on the way. So I saw a very different race at the front between the first and the second heat, where the lead changed in the first heat, but Plumlee basically scampered away and was never touched throughout the rest of it. Which one is Miller going to be as we get ready to go? And they're almost banging doors here before we even get to the green flag, which is now out. And Miller is on the throttle as they come up into turn 1. He's not as far away as we saw with Plumlee, but it looks like he's going to get the whole shot he needs.
Wow, everybody actually behaved themselves, got on the binders a little bit. They're a little timid going through turn number 1, when they're a little bit more aggressive sometimes.
See if 2 is the same, though, because that's where we can often see messes. No, this is, yeah, you're right. Polite's the right word. I'm kind of amazed at this.
Yeah, I was actually shocked. The guy slowed down. He didn't ram into the back of anybody. I was like, what's going on?
I'm sure Crystal King is happy about that because she got roughhoused all last race, and the 278 is at least going to be able to start this one. But what about the rest of it? She's got to make up some positions to advance on, as Tom Grady in the 535 is the one that needs to be worried currently. He's still about half a second behind Murphy, who he needs to overtake to get into the features. There's a little bit of a battle, I think, I saw happening for first in front of him.
Yeah, there is going on there. Miller and Rafoss, we're trying to battle it out there. These two are starting to separate. See, Rafoss tried to drive the inside, got on the binders, didn't even come in contact with Miller.
So, battle for P1 here, still separated by about half a second between them as we look back from the rear of Tyson on Rafoss. They head up the hill into turn 4, have to get it slowed up just as you're landing the truck there. You can see how much they bounce off that impact, and then it's down a huge, huge hill into a valley to complete the lap.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think they're going to have to get a little bit more physical in this. There's no way to really pass sometimes when someone fills that fast line out of 1 and 2. You got to get a nose in there. You got to have a little rubbing.
Well,
no, it's not the K-rail.
Yeah, I was going to say, wrong thing. As I think that was Grady and Murphy there going through. Oh, we have some side-by-side down into 2. And behind them, up and over, goes Colin Murphy.
Yeah, Murphy caught that K-rail.
My goodness. I hope he doesn't have VR because he was spinning like a top there. That is a barf-mobile if I ever saw one. As these guys now back up at the front, still fighting for the lead, and it is getting aggressive. There's some elbows out racing from Rafoss.
Yeah, that's right. It's unfortunate. It's got to happen. Now he's going to be down to 2 laps here. You're going to have to force the situation, but you're in a heat race. You got to qualify. The top 2 don't take each other out, but there we go. And just like that.
He does get it turned back over. He is going to be able to keep rolling, but he loses that valuable position. Rafoss now into 3rd as Tom Grady is going to be into P2. Miller runs away when Yeki is watching cars fall like flies in front of him, probably licking his chops.
Yeah, I was going to say, when Yeki's just like, hey, I'll just sit back here and wait for you guys to take each other out.
We'll see if that happens, as now they're leaning on each other. Rafoss actually pushing Grady through the corner, but that doesn't give him the spot.
No, I was saying we need to get physical, but come on, there's a point where we got to get too physical.
They come back down the hill once again. Going to be 2 to go this time by the line. Miller's enjoying this. He's now about 2.7 seconds away from them. And it's going to be a big slide job back into the back of Tom Grady, who manages to use the 4-wheel drive to get it accelerating off the corner. Rafoss doesn't take the spot. He slots back into P3. He doesn't necessarily need this P2, but this isn't a comfortable place.
I think Rafoss actually helped Grady out a little bit. He gave him a little shove up there and just kind of screwed himself, I'm going to say.
Yeah, almost looks like maybe he gave the position back a little bit. They've been supremely polite out here today, the way they've been racing, but it's not doing any favors for that 13 truck as they're in pit lane. You can see we've got both Murphy and Binder, unfortunately, sitting at a standstill.
Well, unfortunately, they're going to have to go to the LCQ on this one for sure, though. You'll know better for next time. It's got to get up there. You got to force it because only a couple laps, especially in the LCQ. It's shorter in laps. You got to make moves quick and early.
Right now, we're already to the end of this one. That tells you just how fast they go by. Little bump from Rafoss on Grady that time into turn 2. He's trying to poke his nose, but hasn't been able to make anything stick. Cody just behind him, a little too far back to capitalize if something happens. And then Crystal King's been promoted into 5th by some of the accidents that we had earlier in this heat. Not sure if there's going to be a pass there for P2, but up ahead of them, Tyson Miller with a nice dominant win in the final heat. Grady will take 2nd, and Rafoss is the last to advance when Yeki unfortunately could not make it, as Crystal King is 5th and MacArthur 6th. Aish winds up 7th, and Murphy the first DNF of that one. And unfortunately, also John Binder not making it. So I believe we have a short break, if I'm not mistaken. Double checking with our producer here to see if we're heading off or if we're covering the LCQ. And yes, we're going to have a short commercial break. We'll be back after this.
For whatever you do, General Tire delivers.
tell you though, Crystal King's got to be happy this isn't Crandon again.
Oh,
He
indeed.
took a beating there.
Just could not get any relief, and certainly held her own, basically fought back and had to push her way back up to a transfer spot as they fly down the hill now. And it's up to 1.5 seconds between Briley and Winkler. In fact, King's starting to catch up to that 720 a bit.
Yeah, I told you, once you let Briley go out front, he will walk away with this. He is a race car driver after all. You know, you get a guy like that, he knows how to drive. He's a wheel man.
He's showing it today in this last LCQ as he comes around the final corner. There you saw him flash across the screen. He is going to take the LCQ win. Winkler is going to look like, yep, he's got that second place as he finally crosses the line. King takes the podium spot as Jeffrey will get the last transfer position in fourth. Ryan Miller, Scott Kerr, James Burke, Cameron Magashik, John Binder, and Daniel Aish are all out of this one now, sadly. Which takes us to another quick break. We'll be back for the feature. Stick around. There's more action to come after this commercial.
Whatever you do, General Tire delivers.
Welcome back to Wild West Motorsports Park. It's time for the feature. More trucks out there, more action, more laps even for all this to go down. But at the top of it, Tyson Miller will start it out with Christopher Plumley in P2. Keaton Swain will start from P3. He's the one that probably wants this the most because he sits second in the points. Nicholas Dachelet will start from fourth as Felix Roy will be P5, and then it's Tom Grady in the sixth position. Connor Berry all the way down in seventh here for the start, but he races well typically. We'll see if he can charge through the field. It'll be Liebert next to him in eighth as Rafoss will start ninth and Drapk in 10th. Then it's Trenton Briley getting his way in 11th as, don't worry, we'll have an extra pace lap here. And then Cody Wenyecki will start from 12th. Sean Winkler will be 13th and Paul Mikolajic 14th. Crystal King P15 and Cody Retzlaff 16th. Last one to squeak through is Keith Jeffrey in P17. So they'll head around for two pace laps, well, a pace lap and a half really, on this one before they get going to get things all warmed up. And let's not forget, we have the competition caution to pack them up halfway through the race, Dave. So even if things spread out, it could still get wild at the end.
Yeah, I'm going to see that's probably going to be at 8, going into 9, which would be really the halfway mark.
Indeed. So as the drivers now come down the hill, just pacing around, no need to warm tires up here on the dirt side. They just need to mentally prepare themselves as they get ready for the race on this one. They've already seen this track plenty of times tonight, both through practice, through qualifying, and through the heat and LCQ races, so they know their way around this track. But now it has also been refreshed. It's changed, Dave, as they've now returned it to its original state.
Yeah, it looks like it's fresh and nice. We're going to see how long that lasts, though, with all these laps. It starts to blue groove in.
Yeah, it's certainly going to get worn out quickly as they come out of the final corner. They'll need to get lined up here as the pace truck should be heading in. And Miller has control. Green flag is out as we head up towards turn 1. 17 trucks trying to find their way through, almost landing on top of each other there over the first jump. And they all try to find a little bit of space on the track, some beating and banging, but nobody sent over 4 wide in the middle of the field.
Man, Miller just looked like nobody was near him. A nice clean run up out of turn number 1. And turn number 2, it looks like Swain was trying to get in there, but he doesn't want any contact. Looks like very little contact there. You can see Plumley making a move on the outside of the turn number 2. We got a rollover. Is that Cody? No, that's
Liebert.
10. Liebert, yeah.
So he gets pushed back on his lid. I saw a little smile in there. I think he was happy at least he gets to keep racing, thankfully. Oh, and up at the front of the field, somebody went into the wall. That was Dashalette, unfortunately, who just got the turn wrong. We're going to watch the moment here with Liebert to see what sent him up and over.
Well, I'm going to see here. I think pretty much him being on the outside and everybody leaning on him.
Oh, he was in the middle. That's,
he got pushed around.
And I think this was intentional, that last truck trying to kind of nudge him over, and thankfully it did in the end. That may have been Cody Retzlaff, I think, that did that. Oh, and the second time around, we had another truck roll that landed on its wheels. That was Trenton Briley this time in the 17. We're looking at the 535 of Grady, who's battling side by side with Wieniecki currently. So let's have a look at that second rollover in 2 laps.
Up and over. Yep. There we go. Same spot. I tell you, it's popular.
There's just no room through that corner, it looks like.
Yeah, that's what I say. Turn 2 always gets a little tight. Turn 1, they try to fight for position. Turn number 2, they want to put a stamp on it. And that's what happens usually.
Yeah, unfortunately, stamping their number on the ground there as they come around and take turn 2 once again. Are we going to get 3 for 3? That's a little bit more spread out, and I think that looks a little bit more orderly. So everybody stays on the rubber this time, thankfully, and we continue on, but it's Miller leading. Swain's actually still in second, hot on his heels, and Plumley's dropped off a bit, but he is in P3.
And you can see Felix Roy back there holding off Connor Berry. Not usual to see Connor back in that 5th position, but there's a lot of laps to go, and look at him right now. He's going to get ready to pick off Felix Roy right now.
And credit to the field, because Connor's even said himself, everybody's just really picked up the pace, and that's what's made it harder. It's not that he's gotten slower, it's that everybody's gotten faster, but he's right now ahead of Jakob, who's been just hassling him. Whenever he sees an opportunity, he's going to poke his nose down into 2 without barely touching him that time. So nice, polite racing between them, at least for the time being. We're already on to lap 4 as Connor now having some connection issues on top of things.
Yeah, that's unusual. He's on a good, strong connection usually at his house there. Kind of surprised that happened.
So as they swing around turn 4 and head back down the hill, bit of a line of 4 trucks that have kind of built here in the mid-pack, unable to make any positions on one another at this tight and twisty course. So will we see anybody make enough of a mistake? You can see how close they like to get, just making light bits of contact. That's normal in this style of racing.
And Connor, I think, has struggled in this class, our course a few times here. It's kind of one of those things that, certain tracks you'll accelerate. I know he does, Wild West has always been a tough one, but Crandon, he always accelerates. Mark River, and of course, out in Chandler, Arizona, you can't go wrong with him there. He's the master of that track.
Absolutely. And flying over the jump now up to turn 4. I can tell you're not missing anything at the front. Swain's now dropping off of Miller. It's up to about half a second between our leaders. You can see the war damage from a few of the trucks as they're missing some body parts on top of things with having to made so much contact and rollovers throughout this race. Very single file. Wonder if there's a few that are just kind of biding their time from here, waiting for the competition caution to try and compact back together.
Well, a lot of these guys, it depends on the setup, how much fuel they're carrying, the weight. They get a little lighter when you get halfway through. How your tires are set up and pressures and all that kind of stuff makes a difference as the track starts to change and deteriorate.
Looks like we got a black flag for Jarrett Liebert, and he's into pit lane to serve that, unfortunately.
Wow.
So not sure what happened to him to elicit that. They do have incident limits in each race, but it's not common that you see that in this series. The drivers will run over that limit and get that black flag. Swain got a little closer to Miller that time through. There's Liebert on your screen now. The battle for the top spot getting ever closer once again. And on top of it, they're catching up to Tom Grady, who had to come into pit lane, I think maybe to take a few repairs and is back out. So lap traffic might actually be a concern.
Yeah, and that can always run into a little bit of problems. They're going to let you by or they're going to race with you.
This is Plumlee here racing with his VR headset. Now going to come down out of 4. Sitting in 3rd place currently, about a second off of Swain. He's got some work to do to try and catch them. But we've just completed lap 7, so now into lap 8. So we should see either at the end of this lap or at the end of lap 11 that we'll get that competition caution coming out today.
It should be 9. It should be right before 9. That's the way we've always done it. Unless somebody's reinventing the wheel.
Not sure. It's we'll see which way it goes. Our infographic said one thing, the rules book said another, and you're telling me a third. So hedge your bets now, folks.
All right. What are my odds?
I don't know. We'll have to ask the bookies.
I gotta say, what's my vig?
Meanwhile, we cross the line. Tyson Miller still leading Swain by about 0.4 of a second now. No caution yet. Yeah, into lap 9. So the end of lap 8 didn't merit it. Plumlee's still holding on.
Originally, it was 18 laps we saw, so now we're going 22, so it will be 11.
So there we go. As we go 3 wide down into turn 2, this is Connor Berry with Felix Roy threatening him. He's managed to go by Rafoss when we weren't looking, and he's going to try and make the pass out of 3, but he can't find the grip off the inside of that corner.
I'll tell you what, Connor found it right now. He's digging deep in his General Tires.
Down.
Yeah, look at this, Felix Roy, though.
Just threatening him every place he can. As he's also got to watch out because Rafoss is going to try and poke his nose up into turn 1. He's got a little bit of an overlap. This could do it. He's given space by the 91. And now it's going to be a drag race back down the hill. Look at him, almost dead even.
Yeah, Swain's just looking for any daylight he can to stick a shoe in the door.
Meanwhile, up at the front, Miller's now got it at only 0.2 of a second between himself and Swain, really putting the pressure on. What if there is a mistake? Because Plumlee's also caught up.
Yeah, I mean, one little mistake can change the position for any of these drivers right now. That's why you got to be smooth. You can't get panicked. You can't get feel the pressure. Swain's really trying to turn that pressure up on him, though.
This is the end of lap 10, so I believe it'll be the end of next lap that we
11.
should get, the competition caution. And nope, scratch that. I think I just heard race control call it now. So we are going to yellow now, and everybody slows up to be caught up behind Tyson Miller. They will give a lap back to Jarrett Liebert. That'll give him a chance to try and get back into the race, and then we'll get going pretty soon.
Well, this is a whole new Tyson Miller we're seeing, that's for sure.
Yeah, just a stunning drive today. I mean, basically dominated his race that he ran and took the win up at the front without any challenge for him. And now he has had some threat from Keaton Swain, to Keaton's credit, but I don't think we've seen them side by side except the start.
Yeah, no, nor have I. And Swain's done everything he can. In fact, it's actually slowed Swain down a little bit because Tyson Miller's lines have been so good. It allowed Plumlee to catch up to the back of Swain, and that's going to give Barry a good chance. This start's going to be everything, I think, in turn number 1. It's really going to set the tone for the second half of the race.
There you see them coming to a halt, allowing Liebert to get his lap back. Yeah, Miller, I'm not sure what his best finish has been this season, but his average finish has been 11th. So this is just a stunning turnaround for him. Now that he's gotten that clean air, he's grabbing it with both hands.
It's amazing what being out front will do for your confidence, number 1. But number 2, the pressure that everybody gives you.
And he's been dealing with it admirably, having that pressure so far in this race. This sadly now defunct track is looking to be a lucky charm for the number 90 today. As at the back, Liebert still catching up. Now, Wieniecki's gone into pit lane, and I'm not sure what that is about. I don't see a black flag for him. Wonder if he had some sort of damage and he's had to come and get that repaired. He's still on the lead lap as well. And unfortunately for him, they're not going to wait because it does sound like they are giving them the go-ahead now.
Yeah, it's pretty sad when you say sadly not there anymore. I mean, they're going to be building houses there is what the word from I've heard from a few friends in the area. And it's just on the outside of Reno, just where they call Sparks, Nevada. It's the Reno Sparks, Nevada area. And it was tucked in an old quarry, and you can see it gave for good racing.
Oh, did it ever. It's a real bummer that it's gone as they go back to green flag racing now, and Miller leads Swain into the first corner. Swain goes a little wide, and Plumlee's going to try and capitalize. He gets side by side, but what's going to happen in 2?
The amazing thing is Tyson Miller just shot up that hill, didn't have anybody touch him. Plumlee getting a little contact there with Swain, so they come out of turn number 2, heading up the hill. Barry up on Plumlee, trying to look to the inside. Plumlee hanging it out there with a great line coming up the hill.
They made it through without anybody rolling over this time. Look at how tight it is between Plumlee and Barry. Do not give that number 2 truck any whiff of an opportunity because he's going to take it just like that. Look at him send it up into turn 4.
Yeah, don't let Connor see the daylight. That's a bad thing when he sees daylight like that.
Just about got it, but it didn't quite go off as they now come into turn 1, and once again he's given the space down at the apex. Plumlee's doing a good job of trying to defend from that outside line. And I wonder how long it's going to keep working for him as they fly down into 2 once again. Oh, but Connor almost got the K-rail.
Yeah, and you can show it was a great shot how they showed from the point of view of Plumlee, then right back to Barry, and you can see Plumlee just had that perfect line through there. He knows he's got to keep enough where he hits that apex right, but not enough where Connor Barry can slide to the inside unless he forces the matter.
So we come to the line. It's going to be 9 to go, and Swain's actually still holding tight to the rear of the number 90. So this battle for the lead is still very much on, and it's basically a 4-truck breakaway up at the top as, still very much giving space down on the entry. Plumlee is being quite generous to Connor in these early stages since the restart, but to his credit, he's not given up the position.
And same with right now, Swain and Miller. I mean, Swain has been very kind not to punt him a few times. He could have. I know that's not the type of driving we want to see out of these drivers, but just to show the maturity that they have and how clean they are is incredible.
This has been a great race. Despite a number of rollovers, it's not been the sort of craziness that we witnessed back at Crandon Short 2 weeks ago. But what will it be like when we get down to 1 or 2 laps left to go, especially if that 21 is close to the rear of Miller?
I'll tell you, between Wild Horse and Wild West, boy, I'll tell you, these tracks have a lot of rollovers, as you mentioned. Both of them do, and they tend to be at a turn 1 and turn number 2.
Yeah, that's a good point. We do see both of them. I guess Wild is in the name, and it seems fitting as
Yep.
3 wide here at the back. That is Drapkin versus Briley versus Jeffrey. This is for the 9th position.
And Jeffrey, you know, he squeaked in the last qualifier to make it to it, so it's good to see him in the battle right there. You can see that Zach Drapkin there wearing his team green, even though it's black going on there. Go Kawasaki.
Little beating and banging down through turn 4, almost getting edged out into the wall there, it looked like, for Drapkin, but he holds on to it. The 88 to his inside as they approach turn 1. Absolutely fires it into the corner, does Drapkin. Maybe a little too hot. He's going to lose 2 positions.
Now, you could really see that input of the wheel when he was hitting that K-rail, how much he was fighting back to keep the control of the truck. I mean, it was just mind-blowing how realistic that is.
Off the corner, he's not able to try and work on the 2 wide situation in front of him. Briley and Jeffrey, unfortunately, plugging things up in front of him. Again, this is for definitely back in the mid-pack. He's talking to somebody on the radio, not sure if it's the other drivers or if he's got a spotter helping him out, but definitely vocalizing some concerns.
Yeah, definitely. He's getting a little frustrated there, and I can see Swain also starting to get a little frustrated right now. And Tyson Miller, as Miller's had perfect lines. He's probably going to his head. It's like, when's this guy going to make a mistake so I can capitalize?
Just hasn't been anything showing up for him, unfortunately. Is behind a little bit of 2 wide between Plumley and Barry. Goes the way of Plumley once again. The multi-time champion just can't seem to get around the purple-colored car, although he's awful close coming off of turn 3. What does turn 4 hold for them?
Well, it's such a high-speed one. See, Connor's going to go a little wide to take it to the inside there to try and get his nose in there. Plumley just keeps that tire up on the curb.
Just doesn't give him any sort of opening at all as they fly over the various jumps here at the start of the lap. Look at how high into the air they get from the onboard as we chuck it into turn 1. Ooh, this time in front of him, we didn't see it on camera, but Swain actually got a little bit inside of Miller.
Yeah, he's trying to work him right now. I mean, with 5 laps to go, if you're going to have that corner, you're going to make a move in it, you better make it happen soon.
Barry once again giving a nudge to the purple 36, but just can't seem to go by. And behind them, I heard some, Drapkin had some sort of issue, it appears, as he goes to the back of the field, unfortunately, after hitting Briley and causing a big coming together with everybody behind him. But it looks like nobody rolled over. They all keep rolling and carrying on, but Drapkin goes to the back as once again into turn 1. The blue truck is Keaton Swain. The red truck is Tyson Miller, and he is just left and right all over him.
Yeah, he is jumping from every position he can, trying to figure that out. And you can see how Blue Groove is getting laid out there right now. There's a lot of traction coming out of that corner, and everybody's using it. Barry's staying a little outside, though. Look at this. He's creating his own Blue Groove on the outside, trying to get a slingshot going off of him.
Well, he's been working the inside for so many times.
Yeah.
Now, I might as well do something different. Looks inside down into 4. Oh, and he's given the space. Gives a hip check to Plumley, but Plumley gets the shot off the corner. No, it looks like he's going to be side by side with him as they approach turn 1. Is this what the 2 truck has been waiting for?
Yeah, who's going to get on the binders the latest here is going to be the question. And I think Connor, he didn't quite get as early as Plumley, but Plumley now going to set up with that inside line again. All that work for nothing.
Oh, but that outside line, like you said, is seems to be working with how slick it's getting on the inside. Nope, not this time. Doesn't quite get it off the corner.
Yeah, you can see he goes really wide around here compared to what Plumley was doing. That was a little bit different, actually. He took a different line that time, too. 3 laps to go.
It's coming down to it from here. You can see in front of them that Swain continues to apply immense pressure to the leader. And, in fact, make that 2 laps to go now as they cross the line. And Swain has not been able to crack open some sort of chance to try and make the pass. He's gotten side by side a couple times, but what is he going to do? Will he get his elbows out?
Here we go. Look at this. Going to be side by side out of turn number 2, head up the hill. But Miller, he'll have that inside preferred line again. He's going to make Swain go around the outside. Can Swain get some good drive and traction going up the hill? I don't think it's going to be enough. Miller, though, man, he'll still have that inside line coming up in that final turn off the carousel.
Neck and neck as they approach the final turn, and no, just gets edged out off the corner. Yeah, that inside line, that blue groove is getting very, very wide. It almost seems like it is working out better for Swain. Final lap, what did he learn from last time? Is there anything he can do differently?
He's going to do the exact same thing again, go up the inside. He's going to try and set him up here and see if he can get a little nose in again. Try to cut to the inside. Oh,
covered off.
Miller fills it up. Yep.
This time around the outside, he's not even going to have the overlap. Tries to go for the over-under, though, and almost gets off the corner. But no, Miller denies him. This could come down to who gets out of turn 4 better. What is this going to hold for us as they fly through the final turn? A little wide for Miller. He opens the door, but Swain can't take advantage. Wow, a win for Miller after immense pressure from behind as he takes victory here at Wild West. Swain going to take second. Plumlee barely in third.
I'm talking that was literally by a nose.
It was 5/500ths of a second between them at the line. That is Talladega type differences between them.
Incredible. And I got to just say hats off to Tyson Miller. Man, what an incredible drive. Talk about redemption.
Absolutely. So a valuable first win of the season. Third different winner that we've seen so far. You can see him celebrating here as he takes his victory lap around the circuit. And I believe we're going to have a quick break, though, before we go to the results and the driver interviews. Make sure and stick around. We've got more to come here for the post-race show.
Whatever you do, General Tire delivers. Welcome back to Wild West Motorsports Park. Round 6 here of the 2023 General Tire National Series.
was won by Tyson Miller in the end. Keaton Swain finished in P2. And then Christopher Plumley barely edged out Connor Berry, who didn't even get on the podium this time. Jakob Rafoss was P5, as it was Felix Roy in 6th and Sean Winkler 7th. And it was Trenton Briley P8, Tom Grady 9th, and Jarrett Liebert rounds out the top 10. Remember, he actually went a lap down at one point. That was a nice climb back for him. Keith Jeffrey was 11th today, as Cody Winiecki was P12. And it's Cody Retzlaff in 13th and Crystal King P14. Paul Mikolajic 15th. Zach Drapkin having some troubles out there today, wound up 16th, and Dashalette had to settle for a lap down in 17th position, sadly. But I do believe we've got Tyson Miller ready to talk to us, and I'm curious how much he was sweating during that race, because boy, did he have to deal with a lot from behind, as Keaton Swain was trying so hard to try and take that win away. Let's see if we can pull Tyson into the booth here and chat with him, as the number 90 truck with the victory. Tyson, congratulations. But were you nervous at all during the race? Because it looked like you had a fair bit of pressure from the 21.
Oh, yeah, I know Keaton was coming. I was really struggling late race. Turn one, I was missing my corner pretty much like the last 5 laps. Turn 2, I was really struggling. But, yeah, I think he was being nice to me because he could have easily moved me out of the way.
I don't know if you have the stats in front of you. I haven't been able to dig up what your best finish was, but I know your average was 11th. So this is quite the leap forward, it feels like. What made the difference at this place compared to the others?
Well, this is my best finish ever in a league race, my first win. Tons of laps. Have quite a bit of experience here from running Pro 2s. So I kind of knew what would work. And I really got lucky with the invert. And I thought I was fast enough to make something happen.
Absolutely. Yeah, that all kind of played into things just right, and you wound up being able to get that valuable fresh air. It did look like it was pretty tough to pass. Do you feel like you had Keaton pretty well covered in terms of pass attempts?
Yeah, I mean, as long as I didn't blow turn 1 like extreme or screw up and catch the inside K-rail in 2, I thought I covered off 4 really well. I thought my run was decent out of 3. Got tough there late trying to find some grip with the blue groove, but turn 4, I pretty much just hugged the inside, and in order to pass me there, I think you'd almost have to be an intentional bump. So, yeah, I think I did just enough. Obviously, a little bit to work on for next time, but really excited about this finish.
Well, an excellent race. We were mightily impressed both with your run in the heat and in the feature. Anybody that you want to thank that helped get you here?
Oh, yeah. Factory Sim Sport for sure. Guys in Legion 2, Dashalette, Tom. I mean, we put loads of laps in. Earlier this year, we're expecting, for the first race that got moved to now or next week. And we put even more laps in this week. Appliance Parts Company for helping me out with my wash machine a couple months ago. It's a shout out to Keaton there. But yeah, you guys for putting it on. Connor for running the league. Man, it was great to finally get one. Feels real good.
It looked fantastic. That was Tyson Miller, your winner here today in the number 90 truck. And I believe up next, we've got Dave ready to talk to Keaton Swain, who certainly gave it his best to try and take that win away.
Well, Keaton, a great run, I got to say, but I think you got to be a little frustrated. We saw the door open a little bit at turn 1. Turn 2, he'd leave a little bit, but not enough. It just looked like every single time you were just so close.
Yeah, it was a really good race and a close one too. I thought I was maybe a little bit faster than Tyson, and Tyson's a teammate, so I wasn't gonna take him out or do anything down. But once I saw we kind of put a gap on third, I started trying to make some attempts to try and make a pass and get the win. But this one, Tyson deserves this one. That guy puts in a lot of laps and a lot of work, and between setups and just trying to get better each week. And this one's long overdue. So congrats to him. But he ran a great race and was able to hold me off. So props to him.
Well, this track is, pretty much you got to make the line yourself sometimes and almost have to force somebody away out of it. But there was no way you could really get in there without changing his, the attitude of his truck. So I think that was, kudos to your, driving style.
Yeah, definitely would have had to put a bumper or two on him to try and get him out of the racing groove. It's pretty one-lined here at this track. Once he gets pretty worn in, it opens up a couple options. I was able to get to his inside a couple times, but just trying to get runs out of the corner when you're taking the next turn pretty quick is tough. So he did a good job, and I can't complain. We the whole team swept the podium, so that's good for us and something to build on.
Yeah, and I thought it was kind of nice to give you a nice little shout out to the Appliance Part Company that hooked him up and got his washing machine going again.
Yes, we did hook him up, and he did get his washing machine going.
And I was like, hey, you should have given the guy a little bit of room then.
Yeah, he just let me go by, but no, that's all good.
Well, speaking of those appliance parts, you got some great sponsors.
Yeah, obviously, thanks to Appliance Parts Company, Factory SimSport, everyone on the team. We've been putting in a lot of work, getting better each week. SimCoach Pedals, ZK Designs, everyone helps out Connor's League, and of course, you guys for doing the broadcast.
Well, right on. Congratulations, Keaton Swain. Second in this round, but still sitting second overall in points.
Indeed, which takes us, of course, to the last of our podium, Christopher Plumley, who also had a close race, especially at the end. Chris, it's never easy to try and hold off someone as fast as Connor Berry, but somehow you managed it.
Yeah, I was just trying to hit my marks and just hold the inside and force him to either kind of give me a door or sit right back where he was.
Now, you had a pretty good run this time around, and getting to third, especially in this group, is no easy task. Do you feel like you can keep this up when we head out, I believe, are we at Bark River next week? I need to double check the schedule, actually.
Trying to think, are we at Crandon Short next week and then back to Wild Horse?
Wild Horse next week, excuse me.
I don't know. That's usually one of my worst tracks, and including Wild West here. But who knows? Maybe we're turning a corner with them, and we'll hopefully Tyson keeps putting in the work on the setups while I'm working, and we'll see what we can do.
Well, those setups seem to be serving you guys really, really well. I mean, is there anything special that you feel like you guys are doing with them, or is this just basic and your most of it's coming from talent behind the wheel instead?
I'd say that Tyson definitely found some things for this week. It really seemed to work out, and it was just hooking up. So I can't complain. Definitely not the driver.
You got to give yourself some credit. I mean, you came in here fifth in the points. This is going to bump you up a little bit with Liebert and Rafoss not having as good of days. Where do you go from here? Can you crack into the top three in points maybe by the end of the season?
I'm just doing one race at a time. I'm not looking that far ahead. I haven't even looked at the points other than what Connor throws on social media now and then. But yeah, other than that, I don't even look at them.
Well, regardless, this was a magnificent performance, excellent defense, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you again next time out.
Yeah, I just wanted to do a quick shout out to the guys over at Factory SimSports, Legion Speed Sports. They've been putting in a ton of hours, just grinding it out. T-Stone Enterprise, ZK Designs for the truck overlay, stream overlays, truck paints. Appliance Parts Company, repcps.com. Use code DirtyPlum for 10% off. And like I said, huge congratulations to Tyson. The guy has he's needed a W, so congrats to him.
Big congrats from us as well. Both the Miller and Plumley finishing third here today at Wild West. Thank you once again to everybody for coming and joining us. And we actually, excuse me, I was sort of wrong here. Next week, yes, we will have Wild Horse Pass, but on Tuesday, March 21st at 9 p.m. Eastern, we'll have Wild West, this place again. This is the makeup for round 2 that we missed. So back to back here at this place. And we want to give a big thank you to the organizers at the General Tire National Series, and a huge thanks to our team tonight, Dave, Gary, John, and Dougie. Also, none of this would be possible without those behind the scenes at Podium Esports, Ryan Bauer, Gary Sexton, and John Theodore. Thank you so much for watching tonight's broadcast of the General Tire National Series. I'm Joe Peak, and I'll see you on the track.
For whatever you do, General Tire delivers.